Hey, Dave, if you'd like to join us, I'd also like to invite Coach Deegan up. Dave Swomley is our next inductee. Let me tell you about Dave. He was a two-sport athlete, and he had a storied career in both track and field from 1970 through 1974, as well as soccer. He's currently 10th all-time in the Mount with 60 career points and 7th all-time on the all-time list with 26 career goals in soccer. He was named All-Mason-Dixon Conference 3 times and named 5th team All-South as a senior. In track, he is 10th on the Mount's all-time list in triple jump with 13.88 meters. He's the youngest of the 3 Swomley brothers to attend Mount St. Mary's and also the third to be inducted into the Athletic Hall of Fame, and we believe that is the first time the 3 siblings have been inducted to the Hall of Fame. In recognition of his outstanding career in track and field and soccer at Mount St. Mary's, the National Alumni Association is proud to induct Dave Swomley into the Athletic Hall of Fame. Coach Deacon will make the presentation. Congratulations.
Good afternoon. Thanks for being here. Key, I'm looking at the speed with which you've entered this Hall of Fame. The min weight period is 10 years. That alone should attest to you the fact that you were super. Brian, I think Brian was my last recruit. And I was really surprised when I found out the native of St. Anthony's High School in Long Island. His club team, the Long Island Red Hawks or something like that, played in a national tournament. I think they won it, and Brian was the outstanding player. And here's an incoming freshman that is coming to the Mount to play soccer. And he sure played it. Congratulations. Roland, congratulations on your recognition, and probably equally as important, the deep respect and recognition you've given to Tom, who can't be here today. My youngest son, Bob, was a lacrosse player, taught by the speaker for you, Robbie Herb, is here honoring you tonight. And then we get to the Swomley family. Individually, Dick, class of 64, please stand. Kenny was class of 66. Dave, you know, class of 74. Dave's wife, Laura, son Drew, please stand. Now it's nice to be able to have your children here, to recognize the honor that you received. Years ago, wait time for Hall of Fame was only 5 years. And I can remember in the mid-'80s, one of my athletes, I think he had won a national title, but he was standing there with 2 daughters about 4 and 2. And we're up in Flint Hall. And I look at him and I say, you know, Trun's now retired after 20 years on Wall Street. I said, you know, they're really actually going to be too young to appreciate that. Now this is the upside of having to wait. You deserve to be here sooner. I know your mom really wanted this to happen. Here's 3 farm kids. There's nothing wrong with being a farmer. I mean, the whole damn Midwest is look like really nice people. They clock when they lose. That's a little bit of an exaggeration. But you know that they're bred right. I mean, I can remember that they had chores. I mean, we had soccer practice, but they had to go home a little bit early to milk the cows. So the mother would have really enjoyed having you in this long ago, and unfortunately they're both deceased. And I'm sorry for that. But maybe that's the reason why you're here. She's finally up in heaven. It didn't work just talking to me and encourage me and your brother to introduce you to the Hall of Fame committee. Maybe that did the trick for us. And I'm sure she's smiling and she's happy that here we are, the Swomley families, local kids from Emmitsburg. We're proud to have you. You deserve it. We respect your accomplishments and all the inductees' compliments. Now, there's not a statistics here about what Dave did in soccer. I mean, he was at one time in the top 10 in scoring, assists, and all the rest of that. And it's all relative. I mean, there's such a thing as the scoring leader and all the rest of that, but you have to keep in mind that it's a little bit different in that when I first started coaching, they were only played 10 games a year. Now they play 20. So someone that played 40 games versus someone that played 80 games is going to have better statistics. But if you put it in the context of the time that he played, the fact that he was on maybe the first winning season, that he was a 3-time all-conference athlete, maybe 4. And I say that only because in 1974, Jack Dillon, the guy that hired me, was our president. There's nothing wrong with that. But when I came and was hired by Jack Dillon, he was an athletic director until I got here. I found out he's head of the English department, he teaches classes, he's a sports information director, he writes the president's speeches, so everybody had a different workload. And so a lot of the record keeping, I mean, can you imagine being a president and having to be the sports information director? Or just the head of the English department and being a sports. So that's what qualified that you were at least 3-time. But I think they did a good job getting this certificate. He was also a Southern Area All-American. Now, just those honors and the fact that he played in and started every one of his collegiate matches attests to not the statistics, but he was like the best player on the soccer team during his 4-year era. To back that up, he had an outstanding track performance. A little bit like his brother Kenny, who came in as a soccer player, was a 3-time All-American, was a great baseball player. Our baseball team was lousy, so he didn't go out for the team. But he was fast, so I said, let's try track, and he ended up being a conference champion in sprint. Dave, every year, for 4 years, in the indoor track, scored in 2 events, all 4 years. He did the same thing outdoors, scored in 3 events. Additionally, he ran on a school record team where the team belongs in the Hall of Fame because it broke the record and held it for 26 years of a team that was in the Hall of Fame. I think the perspective of where we were and the different eras pertaining to what was available, what resources were available. Unfortunately, I don't think we had the funds ever to go to national championships when they first started. I can remember one year our team won the regional meet and somehow I got them in the national meet in Tennessee. And I came back and told Dr. Dillon that they made the meet in Tennessee. He said, we don't have any money. I said, geez, I just bought the tickets. Unfortunately, they were about $50 round trip. So that was close enough, and I think the first time we actually went to a national meet, which Dave could have gone to, but if you don't have the resources, you just do what you do. I don't think you can achieve more than you've done here. And to top it all off, Kenny finally found out, if you ever looked at the Sheridan Award winners, there's 2 empty slots up there. Class of 73 and class of 74. And I've often wondered, with our lack of files, who were your winners of those awards? Winner of the Sheridan Award in 1974, Dave Swomley.
I too would like to thank the Alumni Association for this award. It's a personal tribute to me, and I appreciate it greatly, but I think it's also a tribute to our family. And, Coach Deegan, thanks for everything that you've done, especially talking me into running track, which I wasn't originally supposed to do. But, being from Emmitsburg and growing up in the 60s, you appreciated Mount St. Mary's sports and the tradition and the history. And knowing that and knowing all the outstanding athletes that have come through this school, it means that much more to me. And I thank you a lot. Appreciate it.